Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. In a world where everybody asks you why, I'm here to ask why not. So sit back and relax or walk and listen and join me on this journey as we try to answer this never-ending question: what makes people say, why not? Hello guys, we have our first guest of the year on the podcast. He's coming all the way from the States. So this is Matt Ode, and he is a stage 3 cancer survivor, and also he's a transformational coach now. So this is a really interesting episode. We talk a lot about mindset and how your mindset is stopping you from reaching your goals. And I think the best thing is let you guys listen to the episode and see what Matt has to say, because it's a really, really great episode. So I hope you enjoy it. Hi guys, welcome back to Why Not. So I have a guest on the podcast today. I have got Matt Ode all the way from Cleveland in America. So he is actually a stage 3 testicular cancer survivor and a transformational coach. So first off, welcome to podcast, Matt. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me. Excited to share a little of my story, a lot of lessons learned along the way, and just help your community today. So thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you for coming on as well. So first off, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, quick story. I am a stage 3C testicular cancer survivor. I'm 31 years old now, but at the age of 24, I was a personal trainer. I was the healthiest version of myself possible, and basically my life just flipped completely 180. I went from this really healthy individual to being diagnosed with cancer, having to learn to fight for my life. I had a lot of very, very tough and challenging complications along the way. For anyone who knows cancer, you're most likely either go on radiation or you go on chemotherapy. So I ended up going on 5 rounds of intense chemotherapy to start off. And what had happened was doctors discovered an 11 centimeter tumor in my small intestine, and that's how they actually figured out that I had testicular cancer. And for most males, you usually find it in the testicle, but unfortunately, my symptom was completely different, and my cancer had spread all across my body. So, put me on very intense rounds of chemotherapy. After that, they ended up doing a 12-hour surgery to remove my tumor, the rest of the cancer in my body, and also what's called my inferior vena cava. And what the problem was my tumor was wrapped around it. And your inferior vena cava is basically a central vein that goes from the bottom of your upper body all the way to your heart. And, that caused many, many complications. I actually ended up having complete kidney and liver failure. My body shut down about a week after because my body had so much swelling from the surgery. And I ended up going into a 2-week non-induced coma. I was in the ICU for over 40 plus days. I was in the hospital for over 53 plus days. I had 5 major surgeries on my stomach, and I had to completely relearn to walk and rebuild my entire life again. And in that process, there was so many other complications, from going into cardiac arrest to going back into another week coma, and just so many difficult moments in my life. But after I finally persevered and, a lot of faith, a lot of support, a lot of, amazing medical staff, I was able to use my health and fitness background to really help rebuild my life again. And I think that's a really cool story that I'd love to share today, of just like how I was able to rebuild myself. And, anybody who's on their own health and fitness journey of, wherever you're at, I want you to know that you can overcome whatever situation you're going through. It's going to be hard. There's going to be, patience involved, but I promise you, if you just focus on winning the day and really getting one foot in front of the other, you'll be amazed at where you can go in your life. So that's just a really quick story of, everything I went through. And obviously, if you want to dive deeper into some of that stuff too, I'm happy to do so. But that's just a really quick part of my journey. And today now, 5.5 years later, I'm cancer free. I've rebuilt my strength back. I'm able to work out literally 6 days a week. I do cardio, I do lifting, you name it. And, now my whole entire objective is to help individuals who've maybe gone through something challenging in their life and is now ready to rebuild their self through their mind, through their body, through their nutrition. And that's my, I feel like my calling in life.
That's amazing. Like, it must have been like being 24 and being diagnosed with cancer. Like, what was that like?
It was, oh my goodness. So here's a couple of crazy things. So at the time I had just started, she's my wife now, Lauren, which is incredible. There's a whole story behind that too, but we had just started dating too, for maybe a couple of months. So talk about like a whirlwind of a relationship together. You know, when I was first diagnosed, I was like, I didn't think she was going to want to stay with me. There's a lot of burden. You know, we're not like, you know, deep into this relationship or anything. And she was just like, I'm full, you know, full into this. I'm going to be there every step of the way. And that really helped me mentally. And I would say at 24 years old, a lot of, you know, anywhere in your 20s, you feel invincible.
Yeah.
And you're also a little naive to ever wanting to go get yourself checked out. And I had a symptom for probably close to 2 to 3 months that I just wouldn't go to the hospital for. And that was massive, massive back pain. And actually, the only reason that I went to the hospital was one night. I ended up puking up blood. I got rushed to the emergency room because I was so dizzy. I was, you know, felt completely dehydrated. They did a blood test on me, found out that I'd lost nearly 2/3 of the blood circulating in my body, which is equivalent to basically being shot with a gun. And that's when they gave me 6 bags of blood, did an emergency surgery to figure out what was causing the bleeding. And that's where they discovered my 11 centimeter tumor. And even then, when they had to give me the news, they didn't know what type of cancer it was immediately. So they rushed me to it's called the Cleveland Clinic, which is one of, thankfully, the top hospitals in the United States. And that's right on my doorstep. I was at a local hospital, so they transferred me over there. And that's where they found out that I had the highest stage of testicular cancer. But I'll tell you right now, like, you have so many things to look forward to in your life, especially in your young 20s. You know, just for me, just graduating college, I had all these big and ambitious goals. I was at the peak of my health, and then all of a sudden I felt like it was taken away from me.
Mm.
But there's a little saying, and it's everything in life happens for you, not to you. And the whole premise behind it is we're all going to be dealt really difficult cards in life, you know, in our own way. But it's, you can either say, why is this happening to me? Meaning becoming the victim of the situation, letting it control you, and ultimately, you know, letting it defeat you in life. Or you can say, how is this happening for me? I know it's unfair, but what is the lesson that is entailed behind this struggle that can help push me forward? I know there's going to be tough days. I know it's not going to be perfect, but if I can switch that mindset to what is the lesson involved, you can then put one foot in front of the other and start making actionable progress towards healing yourself.
That is that's actually brilliant. What you're saying there, the for me, that's a really good like kind of mindset shift from the, obviously I said, being the victim. Um, so this, I just find that really interesting. So the tumor was in your small intestine, but it was testicular cancer.
Yeah.
How does that work? I'm intrigued by that one.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Yeah.
So even I'm a little baffled by it too. But what I was told was the cancer, how they found it was they were trying to figure out where the cancer originated, and
Mhm.
it was in the testicle that it originated. But the cancer started to grow and form through my stomach, through the small intestine, and then it had spread to my lungs. It had spread to all across the body. They ended up doing a brain MRI. Thankfully, that was the one place it did not reach, but it had spread so quickly. And for 90 to 95% of males, like I was saying before, it's usually you get like, you know, swelling or something down there. And for me, it was super weird. I don't know if it was the type of, because there's actually different types of testicular cancer too. There's seminoma, there's non-seminoma. We don't have to get into that. But what I'm trying to say is like there's different types, and I guess they can have different symptoms involved. You know, of course, I'm not in the medical field, so I couldn't give you the exact reason why, but it was something super unique that is not very often like happens.
Yeah, that's, I just find that really like interesting. Obviously, it's not great for it to happen, but it's interesting how that can happen, and like obviously then it's spread, which is obviously not so great. But
Mhm.
so what did you do then when in your recovery? Like, how long did it take you to kind of be back to yourself? Because I imagine it was a
Yeah.
long road.
So a long time. I'm gonna tell you right now. After all those complications, so this from chemo to my huge ICU hospital stage, all those complications I said was about only a matter of 8 months, which is crazy because I literally went from a 185 pound. I don't know if you guys use pounds or if you use kilograms, maybe.
Yeah, we go by kilos
I don't really
mostly.
know what the kilograms would be in there, but put it this way, I lost from pounds, 185 pounds to 110 pounds. So in kilograms, you can kind of try to do the math off of that, but it's a
That's
lot.
near enough to like 40 kilos, but like you can
There
even
you
tell
go.
like 80 in the difference is a lot, or near
Yes,
70 in the difference is a lot. Like,
100%.
yeah.
I lost nearly half of my body weight. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
And that was just in a matter of months. I went from super fit to the skeleton. Like I couldn't even recognize myself. So I had so much body image issues and so many limiting beliefs in my life of like, oh my gosh, like I'm this like I'm a shell of who I thought I was, just not too long ago. And that was so false because the mental fortitude I was able to overcome was so much greater than anything else that I had done previous to, going through cancer. So for me, the recovery process took probably nearly to be fully healthy, in my opinion, after all of that took probably close to 2 years. And for me, the first thing I'll tell you exactly what I did when I was out of there, out of the hospital, I grabbed two lawn chairs. I had a lawn chair on my one part of the driveway and a lawn chair on the other part. And what I would do is I'd get all my might up, I'd use my cane, I'd walk over to that lawn chair, I'd sit down for a minute, contemplate life a little bit, and then I'd get my butt up and I'd go back to the other side. And this is what I do every day. I would move that lawn chair just a little bit further and just a little bit further. And then one day it was out of the driveway and it was starting to go into the sidewalk. I was starting to walk into the sidewalk and I kept going and going. And then one day I told my dad, I said, hey, don't even bring the lawn chair. I'm going to make it the whole way there and the whole way back. And that right there was like the trigger. That right there was the moment where I was like, if I can do this, then I can accomplish so many other things. And that kind of triggered my mindset towards everything else. And then when I started lifting, I started to grab a 5 pound dumbbell. That's it. I mean, I was lifting way, way heavier. I said I grabbed a 5 pound for a kilometer. I mean, that's like two,
Two and a
you know,
half, yeah,
two
thereabouts,
and a
two
half.
and a half, yeah.
There you go. And that's all I was doing. I was just doing like some bicep curls. I was doing a little bit. I couldn't even go over my head. I couldn't do a shoulder press. I was literally just doing bicep curls and maybe a little bit of side raises. That was it. A little bit of lateral raises. And those were the only two things I could really do at the time. Just getting my strength back. And every day I got a little bit better and a little bit better. Then I started to focus on my nutrition. I started to say, okay, what are some calories I should start putting in my body to start gaining the weight back? But I didn't want to go too quickly because they did so many surgeries on my stomach. My body couldn't handle just eating steak and eating chicken, all these higher dense, foods. So I had to slowly start incorporating, some healthy fruits, healthy vegetables, softer proteins into my diet. And for me, having the knowledge was so, so important. And that's why I always tell people the greatest investment you will ever have is into yourself. When you want to make an investment, make it into yourself because you can get like me, I put so much work and it felt like so many things got taken away from me, but the knowledge that I gained could never be taken away from me. And I was able to use that to keep progressing forward. And I always say the three things is you start off with your limiting beliefs. So your mindset, work through any limiting beliefs. Because at first I was so distraught. I was so aggravated. I was ready to have that why me mentality, but I had to switch it because I knew if I didn't, I most likely, even though I was out of that hospital, I most likely would be right back in that hospital and could potentially, have a fatal incident within weeks if I don't take care of myself. So it's kind of almost like a life or death situation. And that was it. So it was my mindset, focusing on my body and focusing on my nutrition and just taking small steps every day. And of course, it was a roller coaster, but I will say this. I never let myself give up. I never gave up on myself. Even though I had days where I'm just like, I don't even want to get out of bed. I didn't just say, hey, I'm completely done. I think for a lot of people, I've seen in a lot of my clients and things like that is one or two tough days can turn into weeks and months if you don't hold yourself accountable, whether it's you, a family member, a coach, or somebody in your life or your faith or whatever that might be to help you continue to push forward. So that was part of the recovery process. And within, months, I was starting to gain my strength back. I was starting to walk a little bit further. And it took probably a full year for my stomach to completely heal. So what had happened on my fifth surgery that they did was it was called an open wound surgery. What they ended up having to do is they had to remove all of my abdominals. So here's another body image issue I have is they removed all of my abdominals, and I had this massive lump on my stomach, and all it was this big mesh over it. And it took a full year for my skin to completely heal over the mesh. And after that, it took about a whole nother year for me to just regain all of my strength and all of my mind. So yeah, that's pretty much the recovery.
Yeah, I like the way you said like you put in that there were like days where you didn't feel like it because I was going to ask about that. Do you think your background in personal training and knowing that like everything isn't linear helped you with that?
Yeah, 100%. I think it had everything to do with it because for myself, I was a cross country runner before I was into lifting and weight training. So I knew already how to go from skinny guy to more fit, more built person. And for me, it was a lot harder journey, of course. It was going to be a lot more challenging, but I had all the knowledge of what I needed to do. I knew that, if I just stay consistent and slowly progressed in the weight, slowly started to walk a little further, slowly had a calorie surplus, I knew that I would start to gain the strength back. I'd start to get, and this is everything in life. I'll tell you right now, is momentum. When you start to gain momentum into your life, you build confidence into yourself. And that confidence starts to lead to, instead of I have to wake up and do this, to I get to wake up and I get to heal myself. I get to become the best version of myself. And when you see that progress, it's like an addiction. You're like, oh my gosh, well, what else can I achieve? What else can I go to? So I want to let anyone else know who's watching this, just know that, the first 2, 3, 4 weeks are always the hardest because you have to, it's almost like a detox. If you're an addict, well, say, for example, say someone who's an alcohol, has an alcoholic addiction, those first couple of weeks are going to be absolutely brutal because you're detoxing yourself from everything that you were drinking. Well, this is from your mindset, in my opinion. You're detoxing yourself from everything you thought you used to be, whether you're overweight, whether you're super skinny, whether you feel like you need overall fitness. You're detoxing those limiting beliefs. And when you see the actual progress, then all of that courage and all that confidence brings the momentum towards helping you reach your goal.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Do you think people they're too impatient about it. They want it to happen too quickly.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You basically hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Nothing. I will tell you right now, I just told you 2 years it took me to, and trust me, I've been working like crazy. Another you want to hear a crazy part is after those 2 years, 1 year later, I started losing all this weight again. And I'm like, what is going on? I was getting nervous because I thought it might have been cancer. So I got my checkup. I got my cancer checkup, and it wasn't cancer. It was actually diabetes. So I
Oh,
found out that I found out at the time I had type 1 diabetes and I was losing all this weight. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So literally the past year and a half, I've gained close to 70 pounds back. I was down to about 130 pounds. I'm closer to 195, 200, just because I just love lifting and I love gaining that strength. But my point is you have to be patient. It takes time. And this is my best subject, or my best example is you should set a big goal. You should set a massive goal for yourself. You want to lose 50 pounds, you want to lose 100 pounds, go for it, but make sure you set that in a year or two from now. You can even set it for 2 years from now, but you need to have small goals in order to get there too. So I say set your massive goal, whatever that timeline is, make sure it's reasonable, and then have many goals along the way to help hold you accountable. Nothing, in my opinion, nothing worthwhile just happens overnight. Trust me, if there was some magic pill that was going to make you lose weight, every single person in the world who's obese or heavy set would be taking it, and it would be this magic pill. But there is no magic pill. I promise you, there's no fix that's just going to help you lose 40 pounds in 1 month. And if it does, it is super unhealthy for you. You're not going to maintain it. Your body's going to be nutrient deficient. You need to do it the proper way. And yeah, of course, there's surgeries and things like that. I get that part, but I'm talking about just the natural way. Remember, even if you do get a surgery, it's still, you're going to need to be patient, and it's going to take some progress, but I promise you it's worthwhile. It's not all about the destination, guys. It's about the journey. It's about the journey of getting there. You will be so proud of yourself. I can't even explain how proud of yourself you'll be when you reach that destination. But it won't be the destination that you're proud of. It'll be all of the hard and challenging moments you endured over that period of time. Those small goals you said that you were going to do, is keeping the promises you made to yourself along the way. Meaning when you said you were going to do it, no matter what happened during that day, you got your butt up and you made sure that task got done. That is part of the journey. So I promise you guys, be patient. It's so worth it. You will get there as long as you keep the promises you make to yourself and you stay consistent by just winning the day.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I think as well, like when you said breaking it down into little goals, that is so important because I think people do have that goal and they're like, God, that's so difficult. I can't do it. And you're like, okay, but what if you did this month and this next month? And
Yep.
by the way, add 6 months to that goal. Don't be doing it in 6 weeks. It's not happening. And then you'll get there and you'll notice these differences. You've something to mark by each time, like, oh, I managed that. Oh, I managed that. And they're just like, instead of just seeing this end goal, how do I get there?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'll say this, like the lessons I learned through my 2 years of healing was greater than all the lessons I learned through the other probably close to 8 to 10 years of my health journey before that without, all the craziness, and I'm telling you that the challenging moments in your life is where you get the greatest lessons, that's why I always tell people, I say, the more adversity you're able to endure, the more success, the more brighter your future is because, there's just so much value in the struggle, in the pain. And I'm not saying I hope nobody here ever has to go through cancer, but what I am saying is I know you're going through something really challenging in your life if you're watching this and you're like, I know I can overcome this. I promise you, when you do get to the other side, the lesson that you get out of it is far greater than any success that you're just gonna reach.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when did you decide to become a transformational coach? When did that happen? Or was it at the
Yeah.
end of your journey or
No, yeah. So that's another good question. So at the time, and I still am too, I was a wellness instructor and a personal trainer. And what a wellness instructor does is basically I work for a company with around 400 employees, and my whole entire objective is to create a healthy atmosphere for that company. So we offered free personal training to our employees. We do health fairs. We bring in like nutritionists and all these, meditation people, everything, and just create a really fun, like Google like atmosphere for the company. It was really cool. And once I was, recovered from cancer, I remember, I am faith-based. I don't push faith on anybody, but I just remember like praying and asking God. I was like, what is next? Like, I think a lot of us can attest to that. When we go through something really challenging in life, on the other end, it gives us a new perspective and it gives us like a feeling of a greater purpose and vision in life, almost like a second chance. That's what I felt like. I felt like I had a second chance, and I'm like, I'm doing right now is fulfilling, but what I feel God and what I have next is so much greater in store for me. So I said, what is next? So I started to look up YouTube videos of just like motivational videos, things like that. And I came across, it was really weird, but I came across this entrepreneur, and his name was Ed Milet. And just a very positive entrepreneur. He was doing a podcast, and it really caught my attention because it just said like broke to 400 million. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, I'm like, okay, how did he do it? And the whole video had nothing to do about money, and it had everything to do about all of the struggles he went through to get to where he was today. And I'm like, holy cow, like this put like a thought in my head of like, okay, how do I use all of the struggles I went through to then start helping other people? And the craziest part was him and another entrepreneur were starting this just mastermind group. They were just starting this group literally right after I was watching the podcast, like a month later. So I joined the group and I had no idea what I wanted to do. So what I ended up doing was I just joined the group, and everybody's in the group. There's, hundreds of people, and they're like, well, what do you do? And what do you do? And I'm like, well, I don't know what I want to do, but here's my story. And this is where the power of a story comes into play. I started sharing my story to everybody, and they're just like, what the heck? How, like, are you not a speaker? Are you not a coach? Like, what are you not doing? I'm like, I don't know yet. I literally just recovered from this. They're like, okay, you need to try this and try that. So I tried speaking. I loved it. I did speaking for a little bit. And then I was like, okay, well, I don't really feel like constantly traveling, constantly going everywhere. And I'm like, I can use my time a little more wisely. So how can I make just as much of an impact but not having to travel? So then I started to look on the online space, and I was like, okay, how can I do online, coaching? And that is when I was like, all right, well, what is something that was super meaningful to me that I have knowledge in that I can help somebody else with? And this is what you should look at if you're trying to venture off and do something with your life. What do you have knowledge in? What is an experience that maybe you overcame that is meaningful to you that you think could help others? And they would want to give you something in return. And that was me saying, okay, how do I help other people? It doesn't have to be cancer, but how do I help other people transform their mind, transform their body, transform their diet, their nutrition, so that they can heal through whatever experience they've gone through. And I started a Facebook group. Originally, it was with cancer patients and survivors. I grew that Facebook group to about 6,000 members in about a year. Incredible group, still have it. It's a very amazing group. If you have been impacted by cancer, I'd love to have you get into the group. And then I just started a group recently where we have a couple hundred members in it. Literally just started a couple weeks ago, and that whole group has all been about transforming people's lives. Now I've been helping others before that group, but now I'm just like, I wanted to make it even more impactful. So how I really started was getting in front of the right people, sharing my story, and not being afraid to have an open conversation of where to go next. And I think I always say this: you are the average of the five people you are around in life. And if you're around people who are constantly bringing you down, constantly thinking, oh, if I couldn't do this, why, why could Matt do this in life? Or why, and it just drags you down. You have to be in front of positive people that are going to want to see you succeed, that are going to want to uplift you in life. And unfortunately, sometimes it might be the people that you thought you were closest with, family or friends, that will drag you down a little bit because some of them think that they're protecting you, and the others are, not to be mean, but can be so selfish that if they can't see themselves succeed, they don't want to see you surpassing what they are already accomplishing in life, and they don't care what it'll take. They will drag you down, have you, there's nothing wrong with going out every once in a while, but they'll want you to be drinking every weekend. They'll want you to be, constantly talking about glory days. They'll be always gossiping about people. You got to get out of that situation if that's what you're in right now. If you want to make some massive changes in your life, surround yourself with a group of people, or even just one person that's going to want to help you succeed, and you're going to want to help them succeed as well. That was the key to me figuring everything out.
Actually, that's the dragging people down. That's a really big thing over in Ireland. We've like a little bit of a culture of begrudgery. So, someone's doing well for that. Look at them. They used to be grand, but look at them now.
Yeah,
That's
it's crazy. I think if you just got to get out of that toxic situation. If you see people like, and the worst part is a lot of times you don't even know because they're talking behind your back a lot of times. So they're friends or things like that. And they're like, oh, look at that person. Like they actually think they can do something bigger with their life. And it's like, you'll read through it eventually. But if you do read through it, get out of that situation as quick as possible.
Yeah. The thing is as well though, even if they're not saying about you, what are they saying about other people?
Hmm?
It gives you a hint what they're going to be saying about you as well.
You got it. 100%.
Yeah. What am I thinking there? So people when clients come to you, what do they come for like initially?
Yeah, I've helped people all around. So I've helped cancer survivors who have lost a lot of weight through chemotherapy or through surgeries, things like that. And I'm not a physical therapist, so I'm not somebody who's just going to help somebody who do not get me as a physical therapist. I did not go to school for that or anything like that. So I'm helping people who are at the stage where they're just ready to either gain weight, work through limiting beliefs, or need help with certain nutrition because they feel like they say that they eat well, and then I listen to them and I'm like, okay, you could be eating. First of all, you could be eating more. Second of all, that turkey sandwich that you're eating from the deli is not as healthy as you think it is, and I just help them through those things. But for the most part, it's really helping. When they come to me, they have a lot of limiting beliefs to start off with. I will say that the first thing I always work through, no matter who it is, I don't care if they seem like as positive as they can possibly be, I first tackle what are the hurdles that are not allowing you to reach your goals. A lot of the times it could be their own self-doubt. It could be procrastination, meaning I feel like I don't have the time, so why even do it? So they're just procrastinating on what they think, or I don't have the money to invest in a coach right now. So and I always try to tell them, I'm like, listen, like if there's a reason why you're so stressed, or you're so constantly worried, or you're not at the exact area you want to be with your health. So I help them through that limiting belief. Then we start taking actionable steps towards creating a plan that is right for them, something that is what they um need more than just what they want, and that's, I think, a super important part. I try to entail fun exercises, and of course I'm not a person who's just like, you have to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli every day. That would be miserable. That would be like the worst thing ever. So you have to have fun recipes and fun things to make them hold them accountable. But on the other end of it, I also want to get them the results that they need. So it's what they need, but creating a fun way to doing it. So that's basically when people come to me, they've overcome something challenging in their life. They're like, I'm ready to make a change in my life. Where do I go next? Because a lot of the times, the reason why people are going to procrastinate as well is they have lack of clarity of where to go next. They don't have the knowledge to know what to do. So that's where a coach comes super in handy. Is you're literally skipping the whole process of hours on end watching YouTube videos, watching, trying to look at PDFs, trying to read all these books, when you can literally just ask a question and it will get answered directly towards how you want it. I understand you can ask a question to Google, but it's not going to directly answer the question like an actual coach will. A personal, like, one-to-one conversation, or in a group setting, or however it might be, is so much more impactful than just typing into Google and looking up a YouTube video. It just is. And it's going to help you too, because when you get on these calls or you meet with the person or however you want to do it, you're also holding them accountable. So they know that in a week's time or 2 weeks' time, when we go and revisit again, I'm going to be asking you, hey, how did that, workout go? Or how did tracking your food go this week? Or, did you get enough sleep? Blah, blah, blah. They're going to know that, and it's going to help hold them accountable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the other thing as well is, if you Google something, like say for instance, you Google nutrition, you're going to get 10 different answers for the same question, and you don't know which one is best for you. Whereas when you're working a coach, they can get to know you. Like you said, you were like, how did tracking go next week? Oh, I got really stressed about it. It doesn't work for me. Okay, grand. Let's just try and get 3 meals a day in this week. You know what I mean? You can change it. Whereas if they pick one thing on Google, they feel like they have to stick to it, but it mightn't be good for them.
100%. Yeah. And I love that you said that. Let's start with 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
Basic. It's, you can't cold turkey everything. Somebody who
Oh
smokes two
God, yeah.
cigarettes a day, that's the 1%ers who can just quit. I've never seen it. I know they're out there somewhere. You're crazy people. Good for you. I'm happy for you. But majority of people can't just like stop all their bad eating habits. Just start working out 5 days a week. Get 8 hours of sleep. Hydrate and get a half a gallon of water. It's just, it doesn't happen like that. So I try to tell people, I go, start small, make those, like I was telling you before, how I was able to succeed, the lawn chair example, or the 5 pound dumbbells, or just slowly incorporating healthy foods one day at a time. It's winning the day, and all those daily wins turns into weekly, and then eventually monthly, and then next thing you know, a year from now, you are a totally better version of yourself.
Yeah, no, you're so right. I find that gas well, especially because the time of year it is. It's January, so
Mm-hmm.
you being a personal trainer know that everybody's like, I'm gonna be fit, and then like
Yeah.
February they're like, this is hard. I don't like it anymore.
It only takes 2 weeks too, if that. It's
Yeah.
one or two bad days, and they're like, see you later.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, this is what a coach is for. We're here to hold you accountable. We don't want you. Do you want to be the same person you were last year? No, you clearly don't. You wouldn't have set a goal if you didn't. Like, you wouldn't have set a resolution or whatever it is. So
Are all the like transformation stuff, as in like, not you say transformation coach, but like say 6 week transformations and stuff like that? Is that as big over in the States still?
huge. Well, it's more marketing for everybody,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, 6 weeks transformation, lose 20 pounds, blah, blah, blah. And it's like so specific numbers without even knowing who the person is, in my opinion. Can you lose it? Of course you can. I mean, like, yeah, is it possible? Is it probably a decent way to market? It is. I don't market it that way. It's just personally me, but there's a lot of people who do market it that way, that go 6 weeks or 6 months. Now, my coaching program doesn't tell like a 3, a 6 month, and a year package. Like, there's packages, but it doesn't mean that, oh, you're going to get the same results if you work 3 months compared to 6 or a year with me, and I have to dial down and see where you're at with everything,
Oh, yeah.
lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks. Well, what if you're 100, what if you're, sorry, I can only go in pounds here, but
Oh, no,
let's
you're
just say
fine.
you're 100, you could probably kind of do the math if you're listening here. Say you're 150 pounds, you don't need, and your goal is to, eventually get to, one four or 135 or 130. It's not going to be as easy as someone who's 300 pounds and is trying to get to 150. They're going to lose that 20 pounds in a week. The other people, to get to that 130 is going to take months, because there's a certain plateau that you're going to have to fight through. It's not that simple. So every person is different, and you have to kind of work through that, and you have to see how your client is. So for me, I don't like putting specific numbers on specific times, like, oh, we're going to definitely do this. Now I would like to have somebody have a goal, like, hey, 6 months from now, our goal is to lose 20 or 30 pounds, and let's do it the right way. And if we reach it before then, awesome. And if we have some hiccups along the way, no worries, it might just take an extra month or two. Totally okay.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely like brilliant the way you're saying that as well. And like, even say, for instance, it depends when you're saying someone lower, say like I would be in around 127, 130 pounds, I think. I can't lose 20 pounds. If I lose 20 pounds, there'll be none of
Yeah.
me left. Like,
Right.
like, and there are people who are going to these transformations who are slim and small, and they want that because they think it'll make them look really lean,
Hmm.
but it won't.
Yeah. And you got to look, I mean, some people look at like these bodybuilders and stuff like that. And I'll tell you right now, what they go through, trust me, 99% of you don't want to have to go through that. Unless you're actually doing a show, you don't want to get to that 4 or 5%. It's not healthy, first of all. It's almost unattainable. You're basically doing strenuous amounts of, lifting and cardio on top of a calorie deficit, and it's just really, really tough. So you want to be at a healthy weight, you want to feel good, you want to, of course, look good, but it's going to take just a little bit of time. Yeah, it's somebody such as yourself, you just want to be healthier, you probably don't need to lose any weight, you just are like, hey, I just want to continue to maybe lean out, and I just want to continue to stay a healthier version of myself. That's it. And that's the power of having a coach, of just helping you towards your actual needs, and not just, oh, 6 month transformation, lose 20 pounds.
Yeah. No, I like the way as well you say you have 3, 6 in a year, and you need at least that 3 months to actually start to make a mindset shift. Because even if it is just like, say, talking about fitness, people don't realize how much of it is your mindset, and it's not just, oh, you just lose weight and everything is perfect again,
Yeah, it is. There are so many. The true reason why you don't make progress in life is right up here. I'm telling you, you are making stories in your head, telling yourself you're not good enough, whether it's through other people funneling nonsense into your mind, or your own limiting beliefs of, I'm letting my past dictate who I am now and who I'm going to become in my future. Your past should never dictate. Your past should only be a lesson. I look at it this way: don't let the past can, if you constantly only worry about your past, it's going to cause a lot of depression in your life. If you're constantly always worrying about your future, it's going to cause a lot of anxiety in your life. So the only thing you should be doing is using your past for a lesson, using your present for 95% of your life, and then using your future to plan for how you want to become a better version of yourself. And that is where you will work through the limiting belief to really get to where you need to be in your life.
Yeah, no, that's so true. What do you find are the biggest roadblocks your clients come across?
Yeah, number one, I would say is they always say, I don't have enough time. I would say, oh, I have kids, I have a job, I'm just so busy. By the time I get home, I'm just worn out. I'm just beat up. I don't want to do anything. And then it's just this vicious cycle. And I go, listen, the the comfort you may feel in the time that you get to just lay around and watch Netflix, I promise you, the regret of you not becoming the best version of yourself will outweigh that comfort at every single day. And there's a reason why you're coming to me. If you're not asking for a coach, you're not making goals or whatever, chances are, not to be mean, you've kind of given up on yourself. But I know, this is what I tell my clients, that I know you came to me for a reason. I know that you are looking for a coach because you are sick and tired of being where you're at. So stop letting your time, stop letting your lack of energy. I promise you, if you start working out and you start eating healthier, your energy levels will start going up. And there's always time to find 45 minutes in your day to get some type of physical activity. I promise you, if you just look at your calendar and see, what am I doing? Yeah, okay, I work 8 hours of my day. Okay, what are you doing the other 12 hours of your day? What are you doing for that? What are you doing? Or the other 16 hours of your day? What are you doing for the other 16 hours? Chances are, of course, you have to sleep, but then if you're either watching Netflix or, I got to take care of the kids or all that. Trust me, there's 45 minutes where you can find time for yourself. And if you can't, not to be mean, you should sit down and you really need to prioritize your life, in my opinion. If you can't find 45 minutes, that's all I'm saying. And it doesn't even have to be every day. It could be 3 to 4 times a day. And as for, and then it goes to, well, I don't have time to cook and do all this stuff. I'd rather if you really don't have time to cook and you're like, I'm so busy, I'd much rather you find a healthy meal prep program than go into McDonald's, go into Burger King, because that's the majority. That's what you're going to refer to, is going there, or find a healthy local food place. And I promise you, the extra $4 or $5 that you're spending on this food, this healthier quality food, will make a massive difference in the long run, so that when you're older, you don't have all these medical bills. You don't have a future where you can't spend with your grandkids or your kids, or you can't, or a spouse or significant other. By the time you're 65 or 70, you want to be able to still have a full life ahead of you. A lot of people, especially if you have a job and you're planning on retiring around 60 or 65, I promise you don't want to get to that age and be like, oh my gosh, I have to go to the doctor every single week because I have high blood pressure. I'm a type 2 diabetic. I have my cholesterol levels through the roof, so I have to constantly get checked out. No, you do not want those problems. I promise you that. So instead, take care of your body now and focus on whatever age you're at. It's the best time to start is today, and just eliminate the time excuse, eliminate the energy excuse, and just focus on where you go next. So that would be I would say the biggest thing I see from a lot of people. And then the money aspect, if you're trying to hire a coach, everyone's like, well, that is probably one of the biggest reasons why they're hesitant to hire a coach. Well, what if it doesn't work and I spent all this money on a coach? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're working with me or you're working with Chrissy, I promise you, if you do the things we tell you and you actually follow through with them, you will get the results. I promise you that. The reason you may not get the results is you are saying you're doing something, but you're either half-assing it or you're not doing it at all. So
Yes.
that is on you. So we're here to hold you accountable every week. We're here to help you when we can, when we're with you, and we'll do our absolute best. But you have to remember, any change in life ultimately starts with you. No matter who it is, you could have the greatest coach of all time. They still can't make you change. You have to be the one to change. So I promise you, by spending that money, it's going to be the best investment you ever spent, because it's your health. At the end of the day, without your health, nothing really matters. You can have $1 million, $10 million, $100 million in your bank account, but if you get really sick one day because you didn't take care of yourself, all that money doesn't mean anything to you. You will spend $100 million to heal yourself if that's what it took. If
Yeah.
that's what they said is, I need $100 million, and you have to, you're like, here it is. I don't care, because without that, life is meaningful. So you need to be able to take care of your health. Your health is so important. So that's why I say it's one of your most important investments that you can make in life. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the hard thing as well is like getting people to realize that, because it's almost like until they're in that situation, they won't do anything about it, when you could
mhm.
actually avoid the situation altogether.
It's so true. Yeah, it is. And that's the sad part, is a lot of people will let themselves get to the situation to make the change. And that's why we're here explaining now. I promise you, make the changes now. Yeah, you may not have high blood pressure right now, or cholesterol, or you're not insulin resistant or things like that right now. But I promise you, you're going down a bad road and you're constantly eating unhealthy foods. You're not doing any physical activity. You're on a road that you don't want to be on. You're on a path that is going to lead to a lot of complications in the future. And I promise you, you're going to look back, and like I said before, the regret of you not taking care of your health is going to so far outweigh the comfort that you had of just sitting around and watching Netflix. The best, I feel when I get a good workout in, I feel like I had a great day of coaching and working. Netflix is 10 times better than if I
Fair,
don't
yeah.
do things. I'll tell you right then. Me having Netflix and having one little, cheat meal, like some popcorn or something, that is a way better day than me not doing anything. So I'm not saying you can't do any of that stuff, but I'm telling you that it'll feel a lot more gratifying and a lot more, just you'll be a lot more proud of yourself when you sit down and you're like, wow, okay, I deserve to watch Netflix right now. So
Yeah. I even find even when I have a shit workout, at the end of it, I'm like, at least I did it.
yeah,
You know, it's hard not to
absolutely.
like feel good about it, even though you're like, that wasn't what I could have done better, but I'm too tired, or it's
Yeah.
sometimes that
Absolutely. And
happens.
then, of course, there's also times where it's like, okay, when you need to give yourself a rest too, of
Mhm.
course. But like there's days where you push through it as well. The days like you push through it are possibly the days that are going to help you succeed the most. You may not have the progress, technically that you're looking for, but the mental fortitude and the strength you'll endure of the next time that you are thinking of or possibly having an excuse to not quit or to not do the exercise. You'll look back at that moment and be like, oh, okay, if I was able to do it then, I can definitely do it now. And then there's of course days where you're just like, okay, I'm sick, or my body is depleted. Yeah, give yourself some rest. Of course, your body needs the rest, but when you're either making an excuse or you can still go to the gym or go for a walk or whatever it is, or if your body really needs to take that rest, that.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And this is kind of a slightly off topic question, but I'm really interested in like where you are, like what's it like trying to eat healthy, like trying to get fresh food and stuff like that. Is that like it does it become really expensive that way, or is it like easily enough to acquire?
Yeah, especially the past couple of years with like inflation and stuff.
Mm.
Food prices here has just been it goes up and up and up. But I mean, you can still I'll tell you right now, you know, by me buying healthy foods such as lean proteins and vegetables and fruits, yeah, is it going to be a little more expensive than just getting, microwavable foods and all that other junk? Yeah, of course it will be a little bit more expensive, but like I was telling you before, the long run of all of it
Totally
by
worth it.
far is going to save you money. By far is going to cut all the costs of any medical or bills or just like having a quality future ahead of you. So trust me, spending the extra $20 or $30 on quality healthy foods is one of the best investments you can ever make on yourself. And for me, I try to stick to here's my basics are I stick to either a lean protein such as lean meats, lean fish, or I'll even do I'll do a protein powder or a protein bar if I'm on the run. And that helps me. I try to get protein in all of my meals. Even eggs is a great source of protein as well. And then when it comes to fats, I stick to healthy oils. So stay away from like canola oil, stay away from a lot of vegetable oils because that's actually not really good for your
Over
gut
here.
health. Would you say?
I don't think we have canola oil over here actually.
Good. That's great.
Yeah.
You want to know why we're so? You want to know why the U.S. is so obese? Is because we they. I don't want to get into that part, but I really don't trust a lot of our FDA food organization. They
Yeah.
everywhere you go is colorful boxes, and come to the U.S. and see the portion sizes you get
Oh,
compared
I've
to.
seen it. I haven't been in
It's
a long time, but yeah.
insane. Go to McDonald's, they're like, "Oh, you want a large fry?" It's like up to here, and it's just like there's a reason why we are probably one of the most, if not the most obese country in the entire world. Because number one, it's a lot of it is just unhealthy portion sizes. It's unhealthy foods. They trick you into thinking something's healthy. They'll be like, "Oh, it's organic." The classic word organic. Of course, I like it. Try to stick to more organic vegetables and fruits. But then you'll see boxes that say organic this or they'll say gluten free or all these other things, and it's like all they're trying to do is they're trying to have these big words to make you feel like it's healthier when really in the grand scheme of it it's not. it's
Yeah,
it's
there's a bit of that
you
here.
have to stick to your basics. You stick to fruits, stick to vegetables, stick to healthy things that are on the outside, stick to the healthy things that are mostly on the outside of the grocery store. And then there's very few things, but there's a few things that you can get on the inside, such as like olive oil, I think the best food or the best oils to cook with is avocado and coconut oil. I cook with olive oil. I hear it's not the best, but coconut and avocado is a little better, but still, all three of them are healthy fats. Sticking to healthy carbs such as berries and bananas and things like that. Stuff with a lot of micronutrients in it. And micronutrients are just your vitamins and also minerals and stuff like magnesium and things like that. So yes, that's what I would say if you're going to the grocery store. Stick to the outside mostly. Pick your fruits, your vegetables, healthy
Like ours are
carbs,
built differently
lean
than
proteins.
ours. We have like our aisle, it starts with fruit and veg first, and then you come in, and then there's like, I suppose one thing I do know is there's a lot more stricter rules in Europe than there is in America. So like I think in America they can bring an additive in and they have to prove it's bad before it's get taken out, but you have to prove it's good over here. So a lot of the additives, a lot of the dyes are already banned. Um,
Yeah.
so it is very strict. There is still quite a lot of fresh stuff, but there is like the meals as well, like ready meals and stuff like that as
Mm-hmm.
well. But thankfully that's quite available over here.
It's nothing like it is probably in Ireland. I promise you that like here we have like what's called red 40, which is like literally like can cause like massive complications. It's found in like hot Cheetos and
Mm.
drinks like Mountain Dews and all that stuff. It's funny because the ingredients are slightly different in certain countries. They really don't, in my opinion. I'll just say one quick thing, and that's it. I truly believe that part of it is they are trying to get certain people unhealthy so that our pharmaceutical company can make a lot of money. I just do. It's sad. It's sad, and I never want to say that. There's so much good in our medical staff and medical system, but there's also some really bad parts. And I really think that know what they're doing. They know when they're throwing out these cereals and telling in their marketing, oh, go eat Frosted Flakes. You're at a 5-year-old, they'll handle it. They'll be fine. When really all it's doing is spiking their insulin, causing them at an age where it is so important to grow and be a healthy person. And yet they're just feeding them junk food constantly. And then other people are just getting obese from portion size. And then guess what they have to do? They have to go get medicine from their doctors, which is increasing, the pharmaceutical companies' revenue every single year. It's sad. You could say whatever you want, but that is my personal opinion, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah, what? I'm not gonna lie. I kind of agree from everything I've heard about over there. Like it's crazy to me that like they have ads for medication stuff like that. Like we
Mm-hmm.
have basically like paracetamol ads over here.
Yeah.
There's like so many strict rules as well. Like you can only buy like one box of like 12 paracetamol at a time because if you take too much, it can damage your liver. A lot of stuff. In like here, like it has to be, it's not over the counter, it has to get a prescription from the doctor and stuff like that as well. So it's all these
Yeah.
stricter rules, which I know aren't kind of there in the States as well.
It's not. Nope, it really isn't. There's obviously over the counter that you have to get to, but for the most part, yeah, it's so funny. They'll show you an ad of they'll show you an ad of like beer, then they'll show you an ad of McDonald's, and then they'll literally show you literally this is like right in a row. They'll literally go Miller Lite, blah blah blah. Then they'll go right into McDonald's, and they'll show a celebrity like this fit celebrity eating McDonald's like they ever freaking eat McDonald's, and then right after that they're gonna show you, do you have type 2 diabetes? Here is
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is literally programming people to eat healthy, eat unhealthy, drink unhealthy, and then rely on the medical or pharmacy to keep them alive. It's sad.
Did I have to put any warnings in the ads or anything?
Yeah, that's like this big.
Yeah, we that in
Down
McDonald's
there,
ads.
right down
Jesus
there.
Christ,
And they do
McDonald's
it for
ads.
like 3 seconds at the very end when they have these really big like pictures, or they'll
Yeah.
have like they'll show somebody like doing something crazy, like diving off a cliff because they're healthy now and they don't have type 2 diabetes, so they can go and do adventurous stuff. So they'll show this adventurous person and everyone's intrigued on the adventurous person, and then right down below, blah 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 blah. And, whatever that the side effects or the be cautious of this so that you don't get this or whatever.
Yeah, we have like the small little things like for McDonald's, like eating part of a balanced diet, and then all alcohol ads now have to say enjoy responsibly.
Yeah, a lot of them do here too. Yeah, I think they say enjoy responsibly or be careful. Mostly it's for the driving part of it. They don't really care about, consuming if you're not driving. But yeah, that's basically what it is.
One thing I think is genius though is there's a lot of like non-alcoholic beers after coming out,
Hmm.
and they are sponsoring a lot of the sports events now as opposed to the beers.
I
But
love
like,
that.
if you see Guinness 0.0 or Heineken 0.0 and you don't drink 0.0 beer, you're not going to go, do you know what? I'll get a non-alcoholic. Go, Jesus, I love a Heineken.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Yeah.
such smart marketing.
Yeah, 100%. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll say my absolute favorite beer is Guinness. So if I come to Ireland,
It's a stout.
that is
It's not
my
beer. It's a
first.
stout.
Yeah, Guinness here is not like Guinness in Ireland. I'll tell you that, and I know how much I love it here, so I would love to try it there. So don't get me wrong, you can still drink and stuff, but like you were saying, drink responsibly and don't overdo it. I'll enjoy a few pints or a couple of glasses of Guinness, and I'm good. I can feel good. I don't have a hangover the next day, and I'm able to not have to do it every single week or 2 times a week, and it really depends. If this is something that's controlling your life, then I would say never drink it. But
Oh yeah.
I guess what all I am trying to say is it's not that you can never have like a fun treat or you can't have some alcohol. I'm not trying to say any of that stuff. What I am saying is don't rely on that and don't let especially if you're in the US, don't let these commercials or these end organizations fool you.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like I would drink, like I'm currently doing dry January because I do that every year, but like it is there is a bit of a culture, a very big drinking and pub culture in Ireland, which has kind of not great. They're trying to like not stamp it out, but they're trying to stop people drinking so much and putting minimum pricing and alcohol and stuff like that. But it's not really working. It won't work.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that is a big thing over here. Like, even people who are like, oh, I don't really drink that much, but like I have at least like 2 glasses of wine every day. You're like,
Yeah, every day kid's gonna compound, I promise
yeah.
you.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's crazy. I was just interested to hear about all that stuff, like just hearing it from someone who's actually in the States, because like I read about it and stuff like that, but I like to hear the actual what it's like.
It's all true. I promise you. And they'll even hide some of that stuff. There's going to be stuff that you won't ever get to see because the US doesn't want people to know, like, that, they're doing these things. They really don't. Don't get me wrong, too. US has a lot of incredible things that, that can create a healthy atmosphere and also things that are good about our country, too. I'm not just knocking our country down, but I am when it comes to the food and when it comes to promoting things. You never really see a healthy food promotion very much at all. So.
Yeah. One thing I thought was interesting, you said earlier you're like a wellness instructor or something in a company. That's something that we don't have over here. And they're
Mm.
starting to bring in like wellness weeks, or where they try to get people involved in some exercise, or like they might get them to yoga or something like that, or get the odd talk. But like someone
Yep.
dedicated to that is very uncommon over here.
Yeah, I'm telling you, productivity level goes up in your company, sick days go down in your company. Um, Culture is
Mm.
when it comes to a company too, culture is almost everything. Culture starts to come together, people start interacting more with each other because you're doing group activities, and word of mouth. People start to talk more about your company because they feel like they're not just a number. They feel like they're part of something bigger, that we actually care about them and we want to take care of them in so many other ways. So they're going to refer to you as like, wow, did you see this company that's doing all of these incredible things on top of you getting to be an employee, benefits you're getting? And that right there too, I mean, that people underestimate it. And I think it's going to be in the next 10 years, you're going to see countries all over the world, their businesses doing stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that's on the rise. I was saying with the group activities, that's something funny. Like you'll always have that in like Irish companies. There's like, if you have to do those things where you introduce yourself and stuff like that, everyone hates them.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
don't make me do it. I'm not doing it.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to introduce yourself in my company. We don't do it to where like, oh, it's a big group and you have to introduce yourself and all that.
Tell
Like
something
we
about you. See
yeah,
everyone
right.
doing that.
No, yeah, it's nothing like that. It's like more or less like if you want to be like in a court, like we do what's called corporate challenges basically, and we allow all of our employees, and it's just like a step challenge, getting in like 10,000 steps throughout the day, or getting in, when we do like a check, like this year for January, we're going to do like a checklist. So you have your physical fitness, you have your mindset, you have your nutrition, and then you also have your financial aspect of it. So those are like our 4 pillars of wellness. and there's categories in each of them, and it's basically a checklist for our employees to go through each week, and if they get certain amount of checks, or if they check off certain amount of boxes, they enter in for a raffle for prizes, and you can win really cool prizes such as Amazon gift cards, things like that. And at the end, the top three get some really cool prizes. We've given out Garmin watches, we've given out Apple AirPods, we've given out like really cool things that just help you live a healthier lifestyle. We've given out free pairs of shoes, you name it. So
yeah, no, that's really good, because like obviously you'll get the competitive people who'll get into a cause of it, and then after that they'll be like, actually, maybe I'll keep doing this.
yeah, it's great. So keeps you accountable.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I think that is everything I have to ask for you.
Awesome.
Before you go, can you tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to my website, you can find me everywhere on there. So it's sorry, I was thinking of my email. So it's Matt Ode, MATTODE, speaks.com. So if you just go there, I'll have all my social media. I have my Instagram, I have TikTok, I'm on Facebook. If you're looking to join a Facebook group, especially the health transformational Facebook group, I'd love to have you join. You can just click on the Facebook icon and send me a direct message. Say, hey, Matt, I saw you through Chrissy's podcast. I'd love to have you join the group. I'll be happy to get you in. But it's mattodespeaks.com. If you are looking ever for a speaker or anything, you can reach out to me there too. So yeah, that's where everyone can find me.
Brilliant, deadly. And for guys, you can find me on Instagram. It's Christy H Fitness, or my other Instagram, which is at Strong the Saddle with an underscore. And then I'm on TikTok at Strong the Saddle there as well. And also my website is www.chrissyhawkins.com. So I just want to say thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you, Chrissy. I appreciate it. Hopefully, your community got some value from this. So.
I really do appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast. So if you please could help me with the algorithm and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And even, if you want to reach out and suggest topics for me, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Drop me a DM on Instagram or TikTok. And thanks again for listening.